ready, DB?
Yep, likely.
That was a heck of a basketball game. That was a high-level game. Both teams going at it. It was a total dogfight. Their kids played extremely hard. Ours did as well. Both teams diving on the floor for loose balls. Both teams going at it on the glass. I mean, I thought it was just a high-level basketball game. You know, if you were a fan today, we gave you 5 extra minutes to watch that. I mean, that was, you know, fortunately for us, we came out on the winning end. I think a lot of that had to do with our defense, giving them 1 field goal in the last 6 minutes or so of the game, and then making a few plays. You know, we've got some tough dudes in our locker room. We take a lot of pride in that, and I thought we were really tough late. But to their credit, they do too. I mean, I think that's a really good basketball team. I thought Farrell was terrific today. Thought Vonleh was great. You know, I thought they coached them up. They do a great job watching them on film, how much they've improved in, 14 games. But we've also improved in 14 games. So, it'll be interesting to see what both teams look like here towards the end. But I thought it was a heavyweight, boxing match, and it was a high-level game. So, questions that you might have for the players?
Your first time out in the Big Ten against a big rival, great environment. What were your impressions on the atmosphere and all that?
I mean, we had a couple games this year like that already. Oregon, we played a couple other big ones like versus Mizzou, and it was like the same thing. I mean, we just stayed poised and tried to execute.
Tracy, what's the difference at the end of these games, the last couple of games you guys have been able to close them out, although you kind of struggled?
No question, our defense. Think about the USC game, they had 15 points, something like that. Tonight we hit 1 field goal in 6 minutes. I mean, there's no question about our defense is, pretty good and locked in and focused.
Do you feel like you hit a different gear tonight?
First of all, my teammates put me in great positions to score, and coach just called some plays for me, and we got to execute it.
Well, any concern when you got a line with 2 seconds to go about the previous 2 free throws you had?
Just mental. I get reps up all the time, so just going up there and just knocking them down.
Either one of you guys spent some time on him. Coach mentioned Farrell a little bit to talk about his play tonight, what makes him so tough and so good out there.
He was real big tonight for them, for his team. He was trying to find a way for them to win. He was making plays, and credit to our D. We found a way to contain that certain part of the game. But I feel like he's worked pretty hard this offseason. He's showing it.
Just to go back to you were talking about just the defense at the end of the game and what were you guys doing? More specifically, that's kind of, you said you were locked in, but what's been working for you guys in that regard?
Just being together and communicating. Nothing special. Just as simple as that. If guys connected out there, I'm pretty sure we can find a way.
Tracy, you've gone through this before, Big Ten season. What's it like to start off on the right foot like this today with the win?
That's a great win, and this just shows our younger guys this Big Ten season is a grind. You got to take every game one game at a time. You can't look ahead and stuff like that. So this just shows. First Big Ten game is overtime game. It shows for our league.
Great. Everybody calls you guys tough. Where do you draw that from?
Coach emphasized that from the first day. Everybody got here on campus, and just being tough, just making the extraordinary play, just giving the extra effort. That's just being tough.
Ray, it's a team game, but when you got Farrell going off like that, and you kind of matching them, does that add anything to what's going on in the court?
We try to do the best we could to stop them, but somebody come down scoring us, it goes back to that tough deal. We just come back and try to go at them.
So you coming up to court, Sam and DJ with the teams, I don't know what's it like having those guys back here and being able to perform the job.
Those 2 guys symbolize what Illinois basketball is about. They play tough every time they're on the court, and we just try to follow in their footsteps and do the same thing they did while they were here.
When Tom Green was here a few minutes ago, he talked about the toughness and togetherness of the Illini team. I'm not making that up. So he's even scouted your terminology. Did you sense that their defense knew more about your game having better scouting?
I mean, they did a great job guarding most of all our actions, but we executed and we were a better team tonight.
Tracy, did you get any sense that they had a better idea of what your tendencies were?
No, we keep coming, good or bad, and I think that's one of our strengths, and we're going to try to find a way, and we're just going to keep attacking.
Tracy, how important was it to win the opening, to win the tip in overtime to get that first basket?
That was a great win for us, no doubt. But that's a win. We celebrate today and tomorrow, and we're back in the drawing boards for next game.
Talking about the first basket of the half.
Overtime,
The ATO, how big was that possession there, the jumper?
Every possession is big for us. You can go back to any play and just say that. But obviously, Nana came through and knocked the shot down. Coach drew up a good play for us, and we executed well. Nana lined up, knocking down the shot.
Nice celebrate the new year. Obviously, better than the alternative.
I mean, yeah, it's great. I mean, but we just going to celebrate this one and then just move on and get ready for Penn State on Saturday.
Can you talk a little about the atmosphere tonight, Tracy? I mean, and last year's game being so big and, huge crowd here tonight, what it was like on the court.
It was a great crowd for us. You definitely can feed off the energy that the crowd has. Definitely appreciate the support the fans give to us. And, that made a difference when the people thinking of not fans screaming. Just to gives guys that extra juice. Go out there and want to make that extra play.
Players welcome to continue practice for
Questions? Yeah, we've done a good job of taking care of the ball all year. We've talked about that, taking a lot of pride in it, continuing to climb. I think coming into the game, we were right around 50th in the country out of 350-plus teams, and we want to get better, even better than that. So we've turned it over, I think it was 4 times the other day in the UIC game, 10 today, and that game in a 45-minute game. We made a couple of plays here and there, but, that we'd like to have back, that maybe in some reads off them pick and rolls, but all in all, I think taking care of the ball is a strength of our team. I thought our hands were active, which led to some of those steals you're talking about. I thought that we were really, locked in there. And I give them credit. They made some plays. They shot the 3 really well. They hadn't done that to this point, but those kids are getting better. They executed well. Just goes to show you there's different games. Nana was shooting 46% from 3 coming into the game. He had 4 clean looks, didn't make one. Vonleh was 1 for 6 from 3 coming into the game and bangs 2 of them. It's just his players making plays. And both those guys, Vonleh and Egu, are good players. He just made a couple. Nana didn't make a couple of his. We're going to continue to encourage Nana to shoot that ball. He's earned that right. I mean, he'll make 3 or 4 in practice like it's nothing. We don't win the at UNLV game unless he makes 2. We probably don't win the Missouri game unless he wins 2. So, he just got to stay with it and continue to hunt good ones.
Towards 23 turnovers and hold them without a field goal for as long as you did, what was it defensively that you were most happy with the guys, what they've done?
Well, Tracy said it. They're so good on offense and so well coached. They put their players in position to succeed. I've got a lot of respect for Tom and what they do with their team and their personnel. I think the biggest thing was just the communication. When you communicate like that, you're really connected. And those 5 guys that were closing the game, they've gotten used to playing, together in that situation. We've been in that situation now 7 or 8 times now, I think. DB and I were joking the other day, and I understand guys have a job to do, but, close, twice. How about the 5 or 6 that we have closed? At some point, IPFW down 4, UNLV down 10, Missouri type ball game, down 7 with 7 to go. We close those, So we got some tough guys, and they were able to do that today, especially on the defensive end. I thought they were able to get some stops.
You were a reporter. How would you report on the officiating?
No comment. I'm not going to do that. Those guys are doing obviously the best job they can. Our league has some of the best in the country, and you got to coach the game. I deserved the technical foul, so, Mark gave it to me, I deserved it.
The games Farrell had, how pleased were you with your ability to deny him the ball down the stretch?
Well, I thought Ray did a good job of that. We emphasized that a little bit late in the game. We were hoping to get some other guys to try to make some plays, but, fortunately, he had 30. I thought he was terrific. So I thought that was big, though. Just trying to get some other guys maybe to make a play or two, try to push him out a little bit further out on the floor, I thought helped us.
Some of your new guys performed in their first Big Ten
I thought they were good. I thought their minutes and the possessions they played were really valuable. I thought Morgan and Colbert really battled in the first half. I thought Hill was ready to go. Tate was ready to go. Made a couple passes I think he'd like to have back. Jalen's one of those guys who's hard on himself. He doesn't like to throw the ball away. But we'll take a look at those. We'll get better with that. Nunn was unbelievable late in the game. He read the zone up on the on ball, deflects the ball. He comes up with the loose ball. He had a really good block out. And I thought he made a lot of toughness plays for us late in the game.
We'll talk right over again. I'm not critical, but I'm just asking how difficult it must be to be able to officiate a game when you got so much going on out there, particularly on the post.
Yeah, I thought it was a really aggressive game. I think that's a good point, Lauren. I just thought, both teams were attacking, aggressive on the glass, in transition. I just thought it was really physical. I thought it was, I said it at the outset here, I thought it was a high-level game, man. It was a big-time game.
You thought about asking Rayvonte to miss the second free throw there, 2 seconds?
No. Not that, no. We just kind of stayed with it. I let him do what he does there, and then obviously that gave us a chance to sub and put Nana on the ball. Nana's pretty long and can be maniacal on the ball. He can be hard to throw over. So we were good there.
Some kind of fire. When a guy like Yogi's going off like that, do you see him reach down and go to more depths than Armando does?
Yeah, I think he's a tough guy. He obviously he does a lot of things from a skill set perspective and a production statistically perspective, but I think his best quality is he's just a tough guy. But he's not the only one that's like that. We got a lot of them. And that makes it fun to coach him. We're not real pretty all the time, but we battle and fight and claw and scratch and so we got some tough guys. They're fun to coach.
Talking about last year, you were very dependent on three-point shots. This year, 2 for 17 from 3. You still come out with a win. Guys still brought it on defense. Last year, your offense, early in the Big Ten at least, the offense kind of dictated your defense. You talk about the evolution of that as a program?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think it's just a part of it. It's exactly that. Your phrase is a great one, the evolution of a program, the culture, the mindset being those guys will tell you, you come here to play. Everyone is expected to defend and rebound and have responsibilities in those two areas. No one gets a free pass. Doesn't matter how good you are on offense. So I think that what's happened is, and ironically, Richardson and McLaurin were here today. Those guys pass that along, like Ray said, to him, to Tracy. Ickey's just wired that way. He defends and rebounds. To Nana, Joe's gotten better defensively from last year to this year, and then now their job is to pass that along to the younger guys. And then that becomes the whole concept of, I think Tony Dungy calls it regenerative leadership, and that's what you want. And that's how you build a program and you build a culture where that becomes a part of your identity. And obviously, now we're a lot closer now than we were when we started in year one.
Steal symbolic of all that fighting and scratching.
What's that?
Was Ickey's steal there at the end?
Oh, it was a big play. Dove on the floor for a loose ball. He leads us right now in Maddo plays. He's a winner. He does a lot of the intangible things really, really well that help your team win. So, everybody in our locker room really respects John.
How about the crowd over now?
Oh, it's unbelievable, Jim. Phenomenal. Someone asked me, I think I said this on the radio a couple weeks ago, hey, your Big Ten openers, the students are gone. What do you think the crowd will be like? And, I said, hey, if I'm a fan watching our guys, I like to watch our guys play because they're so tough. I said, they'll Illini Nation will show out. They'll come out. and they did. So I give our fans a lot of credit. I thought they were a huge six-man today. The environment in there was electric. I mean, it was great. But I'd expect, my expectations for our, fan base in Illini Nation are pretty high. So I would expect nothing less, but they certainly were, made a big difference today, as Tracy alluded to.
John, regardless of skill set, when you bring in fifth-year transfer like Iki or transfer like Rayvonte, how big a part of that decision to accept them is the toughness factor?
And you mean to recruit them? Do we look at toughness? Is that your question? Yeah. Absolutely we look at it. Not just with transfers, we look at it in recruiting, period. I think, we always ask ourselves, how tough is the kid? Where's his mental toughness and physical toughness lie? And obviously, I think with both of those guys, they're A+ in terms of the mental and the physical piece. So, I think a lot of times toughness can certainly override maybe deficiencies in certain areas for an individual player or a team. I've always said I would pick that over execution. Now, I'm a little stubborn. I'd like to have both, and we're working on that.
About using a smaller lineup at times in the second half, usually a little bit against UIC the other day too, where you had Joe playing at 4 basically.
Yeah, we went small a little bit today, not quite as much as we did against UIC or even against Missouri, but we have that option in our package, and we did a good job today. I thought it was important trying to put some quickness on the floor and have an opportunity to switch a couple things in late in the game, and it helps to, I thought Nunn did a great job of executing there. It was great to see him do that. He's learned, obviously had to learn some lessons here and there late game defensively along the way, and today I thought he made some big plays for us defensively.
How close was this game to the speed at which you want to play?
Well, long term, I told you, I'd love to play fast as all get out and play 9 or 10 guys, and, each team's different. You have to adapt. I think it's in the best interest of this team to play the way we're playing now, which I think is, we're taking advantage of fast break opportunities. We're opportunistic team in transition, and then trying to get good spacing. Let some of our guys that are, can make some plays in space do that. I think we got to be good on the glass. But, ultimately, long term, we'd like to, get to where we have 9 or 10 guys that can play double-digit minutes every night, and we can wear you out with some speed and depth. I think they have that a little bit right now. They've been doing that. We noticed that certainly on film. I think it plays a big part of their tempo and their offensive rebounding effort, which I think both those areas for them are tremendous. We're not quite there yet, but at the same time, we're not going to sacrifice our toughness. Our effort on the defensive end, our attention to detail when it comes to rebounding. So we're trying to build that culture right now, as he was alluding to there. That's the first priority.
Maybe talk about the line of the Big Ten season. I'm sure this is a confidence builder for the young guys, but is it also an eye-opener in a way?
Hopefully, although Ray said it, we played, that's the one great thing. When you play 6 games away from home, Shannon, which ties Michigan and Michigan State for the most in our league this year in non-conference, and you play the people we have and the environment in St. Louis and the environment that was in the Moda Center, and having to come from behind 3 or 4 times, and then learning lessons, through some of our mistakes that we made and some losses. We've had a chance. I thought it really prepared us. Today wasn't the first time. Now, it's the first time maybe that the crowd was that electric this season on our behalf, which is great. But our guys have been in, games now where there's, where we played some good teams and been in some tough environments. I think that helped us.
Experience change your philosophy about scheduling more home games in the future?
Not necessarily, Rob. I think we've got to find a balance there. I think a lot of that's going to depend on what we do with Rutgers and Maryland. How many league games are we playing? Is it going to be 18? Is it more? I don't make those decisions. We have the 3 games scheduled every year that none of the other teams in the league have. The Missouri game, the United Center game, and the United Center return game, typically. So that's 3 in the hopper, plus ACC Big Ten Challenge. So that affects the schedule a little bit, no doubt about it. But philosophically, there's no question we still want to play at home.
Last question on to the 3 big holiday weekends that make life easier and less stressful for you.
You have to ask my wife that one. Yeah, I mean, we feel blessed to have won. That game could have went either way. Either way. It was one of those games, high level game. My hat's off to them. That's a good basketball team. I mean, they got good players, good basketball team, well coached. So we feel fortunate to come out on the winning side of the ledger. But we'll see. I got a lot of family in town, and so I'll get a chance to see them here this afternoon. Spend a little time with my family before we get up tomorrow and start our preparation for Penn State.
Before the game, you presented a flag from a military member from Afghanistan that you wrote a letter to.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that situation?
Well, I mean, one of the things I'm really passionate about, I mentioned the Wounded War Veterans Center that we're raising money for here on campus. My father fought in Vietnam. My two grandparents in World War II. I have, an unbelievable amount of respect for the sacrifices that our military make. For us to play a game like we played today, I mean, it's, we don't get those type of freedoms if it's not for our military and our armed forces. And, obviously, I gotten a tip on something. I just felt a, conviction to write a letter, and I didn't know that it would end up in a presentation before the game and a flag and a plaque. I mean, that certainly wasn't my intention, but it was great to meet Adam face to face. He told me they hung the Illini flag in Afghanistan, which is pretty cool. So, Illini nations worldwide, we're really blessed to be at a university that's so powerful.